Hey folks, and welcome to episode 3 of Omnifactory. I've been doing a lot of resource gathering in between episodes here. We have many ingots to our name now, unlike last time. I got home quite late from work and couldn't really record much, but I still wanted to play, and so I was just mining for hours and hours. So I've done a whole lot of preparation. I've crafted up a bunch of circuits, I've farmed some wood, made a bunch of alloys. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff prepped for today, and yeah, we're going to move on. So today is going to be a lot of progression, I hope. I want to get a blast furnace set up, and also I want to start DML, Deep Mob Learning. So the blast furnace is down the bottom section here, and DML is up the top. And I think we'll start with the blast furnace, since I think we need that in order to build a couple of the DML things. So the blast furnace is a multi-block grid tech machine, and you can see all the requirements here for it. We're going to need the controller, obviously, which is some circuits and some Invar. I've already prepped a couple of stacks of Invar. I don't know if it'll be enough. Then we're also going to need coil blocks, and these determine what you can smelt in your blast furnace. And the only ones we can make right now are the copper nickel ones, which is copper and nickel. So I don't think I have any wires, so let me start those. I have a couple of stacks of copper nickel, so I might as well just make it all into wire, so we'll do that. But let's start off by making a couple of these controllers. In order to make the controllers, we're going to need Invar frames. I'll make quite a lot of these actually. Then we turn the frames into heat-proof machine casings. And with the casings we can get our blast furnaces. Obviously we're going to have more than one. I don't know if I want to make 10 right now. I'll still leave us with over a stack of circuits, but I think for now I'll just make 4. Yeah, let's do 4 for now. So we also need the coil blocks, as I've mentioned, which are made from copper nickel wire. I have some of that here. I think it's 2x. Oh wait, that's the 4x. I think it's the 2x version we need. There's 11 right now. I don't actually know. Is it 10 that you need per blast furnace? 16. Looks like 16. Okay, we're gonna need more. Luckily, I've prepped a lot of resources here, as you can see. I just made some electrical steel, copper nickel, tons and tons of wire, some plates. Yeah, we actually need those. I got a lot of coal dust, clay dust. Yeah, I just basically batch crafted tons and tons of things. I'll show you the output chest of the smeltery as well. This was just like an hour of mining or so, maybe a bit over that. But we have tons of stuff in here as well. So this should see us through to MV at least. And in fact, we might not even need to go mining once we set up DML. It'll just be the occasional thing which we can maybe even buy. So I think we're going to be set in terms of resources for the immediate future. Anyways, there's some more wire for our coils. We're also going to need a energy input, or 2 energy input hatches, some input and output buses, and some fluid input and output. Actually, do we need fluid for... because aluminium is the first thing we're going to be using this blast furnace for. I don't think there's any fluid inputs for this. No, there isn't, so I think we can actually skip the fluid input for now anyway. However, we will need the 2 energy input hatches as the quest suggests, because the recipe for aluminium is MV. The recipe is 128 EU per tick, which is MV, and the energy inputs only input 32 per tick. I don't think we can make the MV energy input hatch, can we? No, that requires aluminium, that's right. So we have to make the 2 of the LV ones to begin with, so I'll make the input buses and then we'll set this up. There's 8 LV machine hulls, and then we craft those with a chest. I'll make 3 output buses, 3 input buses. Actually, let's make 4 since we have 4 blast furnaces. There's the 2 energy input hatches. I think now we have everything we need for our first blast furnace. Let's go set this up. I think I'll just stick it behind these machines as well, since they are LV. So the controller goes bottom middle, I think. And then we'll put our heat-proof machine casings on the bottom. There's 2 energy inputs. Coils go in the middle. And we're short some frames. I'll make some more. So then we'll put our input buses on the top and the output bus next to that. And then surround that with heat-proof machine casings. And yeah, you can see the multi-block formed. We're going to need a wrench. I don't think these work. Oh, they do work. Nice. So we'll rotate those up the way. And now we have our first blast furnace. So let's put some of that aluminium that I electrolyzed through that as well in the input bus. And now you can see it's running. We might need another CEF as well, because with the blast furnace running, we can't run all these machines. In order to make the CEF, I need some more resources. However, we can't run these machines while the alloy smelter is running because we don't have enough power. So what we can do is use the soft rubber hammer. And you can see in the tooltip working disabled, and this should allow us to process a bit more conductive iron that we need. Well, that's copper nickel, but yeah, I'll process some more conductive iron at the moment. However, as we can see, the output bus is now filling with aluminium. So there's our first 10 aluminium. No quest? Doesn't look like there's a quest for that yet. Alright, there's the other CEF. I also crafted some more flux capacitors that we can put in these as well. So I guess we'll use some of those. So we'll put this other one here. Connect it with some cable. And this should allow us to run both the blast furnace and our machines at once. So let's test that out. I also moved this over by a block. I didn't like the way it was sitting there. So let's put our aluminium dust back in. It's now on again. And it's warning about energy, but it looks like it's still running. I don't know if it's going to be a problem or not. We might have to upgrade these cables to a higher level. Looks like it's just able to run, which is fine for now. We're not going to have anything amazing. So we're now getting aluminium, which we can compress into oh, don't compress that. Compress into plates. So let's look at what's next in the quest book then. We didn't get this quest. Oh, this gives us an Omni dollar. That's 100 Omni. That is worth getting. I'm going to make these fluid input hatches. Just some glass and a machine hull. That's easy. I definitely want those coins. So there's the input hatch, and the output hatch is reversed. Yeah, it is. That should be our quest now. There it is. And that gives us the Omni dollar, which we can convert into Omni quarters, Omni nickels, and then Omni pennies. We should probably make a compacting drawer for these, but anyways. Yeah, let's think about what's next here. So I think now I want to get into DML, now that we have access to aluminium. I don't remember exactly why I needed aluminium, I just remember looking at these recipes last night and realising we need the blast furnace. So now that that's set up, let's get into this. So we need carbon mesh, which is coal, dust and string, and pulsating mesh, which is carbon mesh and pulsating dust. Let's make up a bunch of this carbon mesh to begin with. So it's string and coal. I'm going to kick off some more wrought iron plates as well, because I know we're going to need those. And while all that's processing, let's think about how we want to set this up. So get rid of the rain first, actually, it's annoying. So I'm thinking we set up the DML over this side and keep all the GregTech machines going this way. We'll have our power obviously from here and then running along this sort of middle of the chunk and keep this kind of empty. And then this side we'll have like LV, then MV, HV, EV and so on. And then over here we'll have DML. That's probably going to end up changing, but that's kind of the plan I have in my head right now. There's at least some carbon mesh to get started. I don't even know if that'll be enough. We might have to get some more wool, or string I mean. Let's make our simulation chamber. This allows us to simulate mobs and farm their resources. So I'll make one of those for now at least. This requires a dark steel machine hull, which is different to the LV one. Is that not how we make it? Oh, it's plates. Hold on. Yeah, there's our dark steel machine hull. We use the dark iron plates. And then with this we make our simulation chamber. I just need a glass pane. There's the simulation chamber. So this does take RF power. And we put in data models. I think that's going to be the next quest though. We'll claim our reward. So yeah, the next quest is pointing us towards both the loot fabricator and the blank data models. So let's make a couple of these data models. How difficult are these? It does take pulsating mesh, which we're low on. Electrical steel plates, we can do that. And let's actually make a couple of these data models, since we can only attune them to one mob at a time. The way these work is, like for example, if we want zombie data models, we can run this through the simulation chamber. This takes polymer clay, which is Deep Mob Learning's fuel source, and then the higher the tier we get, the more chance of a pristine matter, but we also get overworlding matter from this zombie one in particular. The pristine matter is basically the thing we're looking for, and this can give us iron, flesh, carrots, a bunch of useful things from the pristine, and that's made in the loot fabricator. And then this overworlding matter can give us a lot of other things as well. Of course, different mobs give different items, like for example slime, you can get slime balls, coins it looks like. Okay, slime doesn't look too useful, at least not for now anyway. We can get the Enderman one, which gives us pearls, emeralds. Let me think about what data models we want to start with. Let's start off with just one model. I'll start off with the zombie for now. I'm just doing that because we don't have polymer clay automated yet. If we look at pulsating polymer clay, this is what we need to fuel it. So we need clay and pulsating dust in an alloy smelter, and that gives us 4 per, so it's quite decent actually. Alright, so for now we'll start running power over and think about how we want to lay this out. So the quest mentioned that these are sided machines, so we have to input the top and extract from the bottom, or well, any side, any other side. So it only allows input from the top, so I think we're going to raise it up a block at least. So this is getting power now. 2 million RF buffer, that's pretty decent. And then we put our model in the side, and then it tells us we're missing polymer clay, so we'll put that in. For now I'll put a drawer here, and we'll put some polymer clay in here. This is going to start iterations. As you can see, this is at currently basic tier, like it says in the tooltip there. The higher the tier, the more chance we have of pristine matter. And every cycle, I think it uses 1 polymer clay. This mod also allows us to get creative flight as well, if we basically do some trials, so I might actually invest in that because creative flight on the void is going to be very useful. The next step in this process is going to be to automate this polymer clay. However, to do that we have to get extraterrestrial matter, and to get extraterrestrial we need hellish. So in order to get hellish we're going to need a chemical reactor and lava. So let's first make our chemical reactor. So then we can put dust through the reactor with lava. This gives us netherrack, and then we can craft netherrack with overworlding matter from our zombie model into hellish, and then we use the hellish to get extraterrestrial with an ender pearl. This allows us to get the enderman model, which we need for ender pearls, which allows us to fully automate pulsating polymer clay. We can also get the shulker one after we get the extraterrestrial, and we're going to use that in order to upgrade our power, because running all these models requires quite a lot of power. So while I'm crafting all this, I'm also going to put some crates on these input and outputs and just start up some aluminium, as this does take quite a long, so we can have this building up quite nicely. So there's 1 stack of electric motors. I'll also make half a stack of rotors, and there's our chemical reactor and a quest. So now we just have to get some dust blocks and some lava. I think I'll fill a drum up with lava. There's some not too far from here, I don't think. It's like just on the other side of here. Yeah, there's a pool of lava here, so let's put the drum down, and I'll probably just fill all this up. I think it's 64 this holds. Yeah, 64 buckets, so might as well just fill all this up. So with our dust and lava, we can now use this to make netherrack, if I actually plug it in. Now that it's plugged in, we can make netherrack, and then we'll combine this with overworld matter, like so, and that'll give us our hellish matter. And if we put all that together, we'll get our blaze data model. Now we have to run this a bunch of times through the simulation chamber in order to get enough hellish matter to get the next tier, which is extraterrestrial. We'll take this one out, put this one in. I'll have to take out the outputs as well. Yeah, so now this is running. We'll wait for this to build up a bit. I'll probably make another batch of polymer clay as well. So in total we need about 28, I think, hellish matter to make enough extraterrestrial for the Enderman model. But in the meantime, let's set up, or let's build some more of the machines that we need to automate polymer clay. So one of the machines we're going to need to make is a loot fabricator. This requires energetic alloy and some other things. We've seen all these before. Actually, we're going to need to make primitive circuits as well, which is the first tier 2 circuit. And this requires, this requires gallium. There's a number of ways to get gallium. I've looked through them a bit here. I think I'm going to pick bauxite. And we'll centrifuge bauxite. So it means I'm going to need a centrifuge. This loot fabricator also takes energetic alloy, which takes energetic alloy blend. So we're going to need a mixer as well. Actually, let's just start off with that. That's quite a bit to craft. So a mixer and a centrifuge. There's our mixer. And the centrifuge. And with our mixer we can mix redstone and glowstone. This will give us energetic blend. And then we can blast furnace the energetic blend. And this will give us what we need for the loot fabricator. Alright, there's the diodes we need. And that makes the primitive circuits. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna use all my circuits actually. Let's just make 4. So now that we have all that, we can now make our first loot fabricator. We're also going to need a bunch of other machines to automate this polymer clay. I'd like to obviously make separate machines. I want to have a separate system that just makes polymer clay. It's a really nice pinned guide on the Omnifactory Discord. I'm going to be following that basically. So we need 2 chemical reactors, 1 MV, 1 LV, 5 macerators, an electrolyzer, a fluid extractor, an alloy smelter, and a furnace. There's 3 basic macerators, an electric furnace, just 1, another chemical reactor, 1 more electrolyzer, a cobblestone generator, an alloy smelter. Alright, I think I have everything I need now to build this machine. I most likely missed something, but I'll pick that up. I've decided, I was thinking also, I'm going to move DML over this side, so I'll expand the platform and then we'll start building this automation setup. Alright, so let's first extend our power line across here, and we're going to have pulsating polymer clay in this kind of chunk here. In fact, maybe we'll put it on the other side. Yeah, let's put it on this side. We'll leave some more room for some more blast furnaces, and we'll put the clay set up here. So first we need a Cobble Generator. And that goes into 3 macerators. And we need these on auto output. Like that. And then, so the first one makes gravel. Second one makes sand. And then the third one makes dust. And then, let's see, what's the next step? Dust then goes into the chemical reactor and makes clay. We have to put a chemical reactor next to this. So you're getting dust. We need to supply this with water as well, so we'll put an ender var below. Like that, so now this makes clay. And then with the clay, we have to alloy smelt that with pulsating dust. So this is where it kind of splits off here. So we have, it's like sort of 2 systems that combine into 1. Alright, we need it to split here, so I'm going to move this macerator over 1. So this is going to be for sand, and we'll put sand into a drawer. We'll lock this. And then we have to smelt the sand, so we have to... Actually, how are we going to do this? You know what, let's move the drawer up 1. And then we'll auto output to the top instead. And then we'll round robin using item conduits, I think. Which it does. We're going to have to power this furnace. So now you're getting glass, good. And then we'll output this glass into a drawer, another drawer I think, first. store the excess, and so we'll output this side, lock that, and we'll do the same thing for clay. This glass now has to be electrolyzed, and then this will give us nether quartz, I think. We electrolyze this. Yeah, 4 pieces of glass becomes nether quartz. So we have to get this from the drawer into this machine. We can use item conduits for that. Oh, but we have to plug it in as well. I guess we'll move this to the top. Good, you're making quartz. And I knew I was missing a machine. We need a MV Chemical Reactor, so let me get one of those. These MV machines take the next tier of motors and rotors, and also pumps. Basically everything is going to be to the next tier, and this requires aluminium rods instead of the iron. So it's a bit of a step up. We also need rotors here, so I'll make some of those. Alright, there's our MV Chemical Reactor. This is pretty expensive at this point in the game, but it's worth it, and we're going to need it anyway, so let's see, what's the next step here? So this quartz has to be chemical reacted. So we'll put our chemical reactor here. And because this is MV, we have to use a transformer to transform from LV to MV. There, I think that's right. If we plug this back in, please don't burn everything. This is not getting power, why not? Alright, I had to move it back a block because I think the wire only goes like in the back and it only outputs the front. I did also burn 2 cables, but I cautiously broke this one here, so it didn't burn the whole line. That would have been a disaster. So crisis averted. Anyways, the next step is to output the quartz here. So we'll auto output this, and then this will be chemical reacted with. Right, this needs molten ender, which we're going to get from the DML setup, but obviously we don't have that yet. And so I think for now I'll just put a drawer here and we can manually feed this. Actually, this has to go over 1 more block because we're going to need a fluid extractor in order to extract ender pearls into the liquid form. So we'd put this here, drawer for ender pearls. Then we need to output the fluid extractor into the chemical reactor. Both of these have to then go into an alloy smelter. So we're going to use item conduit down here. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to need a robot arm for this because if we were to use item conduit, there could be a scenario where both slots fill with clay, and that would lock the system up. However, if we move this alloy smelter and we use these robot arms I just crafted, they are pretty expensive, but it's two motors and a piston. 3 motors actually, to make one makes the piston, but move this alloy smelter over 1 block, and we put a robot arm on here and here, and then we use a screwdriver to supply exact, or is it keep exact? Yeah, we want keep exact, and then we can do it up to 64. Basically, as long as there's no more than 1 stack, so that it only keeps 1 slot filled with 1 specific item. So we'll do that for the top, switch to import, and the exact same for this. 64, yeah. So now this, oh hold on. Is that just because I went over? Oh, I had it on supply exact. Keep exact is what we want. So now it should only be 1, yeah. And of course we're not getting any output here because we're missing the molten ender. We're going to have to supply ender pearls to this. So I only have a couple ender pearls in, so we'll put those in manually. We'll have to hook this up to power as well. I can put this here, right? Let's cut this cable just in case. Oh yeah, it doesn't connect on the side, that's fine. That's what I was worried about. So we're getting molten ender now, and then this reacts with the nether quartz, gives us resonant clathrates, and then the resonant clathrates will be supplied to this basic alloy smelter. Oh, I missed a step here. We have to first smelt this resonant clathrate. Let me fix this. Alright, I fixed it all up here. So this drawer's for ender pearls now. So we now have the fluid extractor moved to the top. This imports into the chemical reactor, and then the chemical reactor sends its items into this furnace. This turns it into pulsating dust, and the robot arm moves it into this alloy smelter. Yeah, so then this alloy smelter turns it into pulsating polymer clay, and then there's an item conduit that's underneath here, and that puts it into this drawer. We also are going to need a filter for this robot arm as well. If we look at the robot arm, the or supply exact measures the total amount of items in this alloy smelter. So if you set it to 64, then it looks at this, sees there's 64 clay and doesn't input this output. So in order to make the filters we need from the GregTech mod, we need foil, and to make foil we need a cluster mill. So I've made one of those here, and I got some zinc foil, and then we craft this with steel plates. This will give us our filters, like that. We can then apply those to the robot arms, and then put in pulsating dust in this one, clay from this one, like that. And that should supply it once we have more ender pearls. I also crafted the Enderman data model, which is what we need for the ender pearls in order to get the rest of the pulsating polymer clay fully automated. However, as you can see, there's not enough energy, so let's make some more upgrade kits for these. So the next one is the hardened tier, the reinforced tier. And this requires electrum gears and blocks of aluminium. So I have the electrum gears here, I should have some plates. So there's 3 upgrade kits. This will further increase the efficiency of, or the RF output on these. So currently we're at 240 RF per tick each. If we upgrade all of these, we're now at 400 RF per tick. So we're at 800 combined going through this wire. Actually, what is the max of this wire? So we're actually bottlenecked by the throughput on this wire. This is at least able to run now. It's not going to be 100% uptime because it is 2000 RF a tick. So it has to build up its buffer before it runs one iteration. So let's finish off today by adding the simulation chamber and the loot fabricator for the ender pearls. So I have a CEU here to convert the GregTech energy back to RF. So let's put the loot fabricator here, and then we'll put the simulation chamber. I mean, this has to input the top, but just so we don't have things like insanely tall, we can put it on the bottom and then put item conduit and run it to the top, since these can share block space, which is really nice. Something like that. And then we'll have one more cable to take the items from here, the loot fabricator, and put the pearls into their drawer. And I suppose we will have to connect this to this side as well to put the polymer clay inside the simulation chamber, because that has to be inserted at the top. So we can just connect to this same line and then have this extract on blue, and then insert in blue here. Take off the insert there. So if we have this extract on blue, then it should insert in blue here, and this should be getting polymer clay. Obviously there isn't any in there right now, but this will produce an excess of polymer clay. We just need our data model. So we put our data model in here, and then some, actually I'll put it in the drawer just to make sure it does actually go in. No? Oh right, I have the cable disconnected. There we go, now it's getting polymer clay. And we'll also need somewhere for the extraterrestrial matter to go, so I guess we'll just stack a drawer on top as well here. I suppose we'll make a drawer controller for this as well. It'll be easier once we get applied energistics to put a storage bus on this, and then we can move polymer clay wherever we need. So I'll put the storage bus here. There, so now the extraterrestrial matter is going into this drawer. I'll probably put a void upgrade on that eventually, because that will fill up. I don't want that to stop our polymer clay production. But yeah, this just takes time now to level up. It's still at basic tier, and we're going to have to upgrade our power again as well, because this isn't really going to be sufficient. But it gets us at least automated polymer clay, which allows us to run all the other simulations. But I think we're running a bit long here, so I'll probably work on this some more off between episodes. I'll probably set up some more of the deep mob learning. Next time I think we'll get into MV and probably upgrade power once again. Also expand our DML. But yeah, that's going to do it for this time. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one.